So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Patriots, Gatriots, Patriots. I nailed it.
I'm doing so good on that.
You nailed it. Pumps, what have you had it with?
I've had it with people that don't pick up their trash in a public setting.
Okay.
Why does someone think that somebody else should be in charge of picking up their trash? And specifically, I mean like airports, basketball games, big public spaces. People just leave their trash. And I'm just like, who do you think is picking up your trash after you? Why do you think you're so special? You don't have to pick up your own trash. It grosses me out. Really, it's a huge turnoff for me.
Movie theaters are another
Movie
place
theaters,
where
yes.
it's really bad. Yeah. So, I mean, when I go to the movies with Josh and the boys, we'll all stand up and I look down and I'm like, everybody grab your stuff. And there always has to be a leader in the trash. And you're very good about that.
I'm always picking
You're
up.
very good about like when there's trash, you always do a big sweep. Like if we're all in a car together or on a plane, you always are like, I'm going to do a trash run.
Yeah, I just don't like a lot of trash
You're
around.
a trash leader.
Yeah, it bugs me. And I'll tell you what else bugs me. And it's getting ready to happen because the kids are moving home. When kids just continue to throw trash in a trash can and they push it down.
Yes.
Instead of just taking it out. Just take it out. If it's overflowing, take it out, you stupid asshole.
No, that's a big problem. I'll tell you, Josh is the ringleader of taking out the trash in my house. Like it could only be half full. And he looks down and he goes, I'm just going to go ahead and take it out because, in a couple of minutes, it's going to be full. So he does a preemptive strike and takes it out early.
I like that.
Yeah, I know. It's
right up my alley.
It's right up your alley. Okay, let me tell you what I've had it with. I've had it with this idea that gets floated a lot in politics that we need to sit down and talk to the other side.
Right.
And here's my thing. I don't want to sit down and have regressive conversations. Like, I feel like MAGA is so regressive. Like, do I really have to sit down and say, this is why I think dictatorships are bad and get out history books?
Are we there?
Do I have to say communities are not good when we don't promote women as equals and then show all the evidence? And it just seems like the burden of this always falls on the left to go sit down with the dipshits and have regressive conversations. And I think we all have to draw boundaries and say, we're not talking to stupid. And you can hear them all say, oh, look, you're talking down to them. And I would say, you're goddamn right we are. I'm not going to have regressive conversations wherein I have to explain why democracy is preferable to autocracy. It's insane. And like that you have to explain to somebody, the countries with the best economies, statistically and throughout history, have the best governments. The best governments are typically democracies. It's just insane, the burden that gets put on the left. Meanwhile, the right, it's like they do all of this shit, lie, make shit up with impunity. And the double standard of that drives me crazy. And I don't want to sit down with dipshits and have aggressive conversations.
I completely agree with you. I also think when you look at all the evidence that we've accumulated over the last at least 7 or 8 years, you have a situation where you can tell MAGA people, okay, you tell them that Joe Biden did something, but it was really what Donald Trump did. And they just, oh my gosh, that's terrible. He's the worst, da, da, da. And then you say, oh no, actually Donald Trump did that. And they're like, oh no, I think it's fine then. So there's no rational thought. They're not tethered to reality. And it's hard to argue rational with irrational people. And you also have a situation where the gaslighting, they don't want facts. They just want to be fed the confirmation bias. So I do think it's becoming harder and harder to talk to people. My only thing that I'm thinking is now that the economy is just in a shithole tank, and rural Oklahomans and rural other people and people that voted for Trump are now going to feel it so intensely economically that it might open a little caveat for some intellectual conversation.
Intellectual is a big word there, Pumps.
Okay, it might open them up to looking just a little bit on the other side. But I think the first thing is they're going to have to say, my dear leader that I've pledged all this alliance to and undying loyalty fucked me. And I think that's going to be hard for people.
I think it's going to be really hard for people. And I think that the burden should be on the citizen to go find the facts. And, people that watch Fox News aren't super proud of it, at least the people that I know. They kind of deny it. But you can always tell when they watch it because they immediately spout Fox News talking points. Like if Bernie Sanders comes up, they'll say, oh, he has a vacation home. That's the first, and that's a Fox News talking point. Or back in the when Kamala was first announced, the first talking point was, oh, she cackles and speaks in word salad. And that's a Fox News talking point. And you can always tell. But then if you ask them, oh, do you watch Fox? Oh, no, I watch CNN. I'm like, motherfucker, you no more watch CNN, which is equally has its own set of problems, but it's not as bad a propaganda as Fox. But I think the burden should be on people to vet their news. And it's like we've lowered the bar so low for these people. And I feel like there is we enable them.
Yeah.
We're going to come talk to you. We're going to come try to get you to come our way. And I think we just need to keep moving along with progress. And I simply say to people, I believe in human rights and democracy. And most of the time the Fox viewer goes, oh, well, I do too. And I'm like, well, your vote would tell me otherwise. If you voted for Trump, you don't believe in human rights or democracy. He said that he was going to be a dictator, and you would never have to vote again. He said that. So that's antithetical to democratic ideals. And so I think we have to quit enabling these people, coddling these people, trying to go their way. They voted for this. They're going to suffer the consequences of it. We're going to keep voting on your behalf because that's the kind of people we are. But on a case-by-case basis, I don't have a whole lot of empathy for you. And I'm going to go a little bit further. A part of me is kind of excited that some of these country club Republicans that I know are looking at their 401ks right now going, motherfucker. Because you know what? They deserve to feel that pain. The country club Republicans, the white Republicans that you and I know who try to make it okay to vote for Trump.
I have to say, I've thought about that same group, wondering what they're thinking. Like amongst their circles, they would never say it in front of us. But if they're talking in their circles, like, because it was always, well, Trump's so good for the economy. And now if they're saying, well, he might not have been that great for the economy.
Let me ask you this. Do you get a little joy on the inside thinking about it?
Part of me kind of does.
Yeah, I do too. Now, the rural people who have the whole system has disappointed them. Their hourly wage has disappointed them. I have more empathy for them.
Yes.
But for the educated voter that knows better, that did it anyway because they wanted to save a few $1,000s in taxes, that's the person when they see their 401k where I just want to be like, how's that going for you?
Yeah. Aren't you happy you voted for Trump? He's so good for the economy.
Uh-huh. What made you think he would be so good for the economy? I mean, he's filed bankruptcy. What happens? 7 times?
And casinos were part of that. I just always have to add that.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. I've had it. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Angie, the HBIC head beaver in charge. Someone came up to me at the Thunder game and was like, oh my gosh, you're the head beaver. I was like, fucking damn right I am.
I love how you didn't even miss a beat with the intro. I'm Angie, HBIC, the head beaver in charge.
Head beaver in charge.
Okay. I have a question I have to ask you before we go to Kylie.
Oh, God.
This is something I've been thinking about. How much money would it take for you to do the following?
Okay.
You start in LA at your hotel.
Okay.
And you have to wear a MAGA hat all day during what I'm about to tell you. You have to wear a MAGA hat. You cannot say, I'm getting paid to do this. You have to smile at people and act like it's totally normal and that you're wearing a hat that says like OKC Thunder on it. Like it's just normal. It's your team and you're wearing your team's hat. So you would have to go in an Uber and then go through LAX. And then you'd have to stop in Denver, switch planes. And you're going to be seated like second row of each flight.
So front and center.
And then you're going to fly to Atlanta. And then you're going to fly to Chicago. And then you're going to end at like JFK or LaGuardia. I'm talking 4 flights, MAGA hat the entire time. You cannot, under any circumstances, say, I'm getting paid for this. I hate him. I think he's a dick. And further, if somebody says, what the fuck's going on with your MAGA hat? Fuck you. You have to be like, what are you talking about? He's great.
He's the best president ever.
Yeah. How much?
Okay. Is this over a course of like a couple days?
No, it's one day. You're starting at like 5, 6 a.m. You're doing two 2 stops, ending in New York, coast to coast, baby. MAGA hat. It's going to have the 45, 47 on it with the flag. I mean, it's the full-blown red MAGA hat.
Here's the thing. I want to say that I just couldn't do it on principle. Like, I just don't think I could. I really don't.
You know what? Josh asked me this question like a couple weekends ago, and I was sitting there trying to come up with a number. And I just thought, I just don't know that I could do it. I don't think that I could wear that, considering I think it's a modern day swastika,
right,
or a modern day Klan's hood, KKK style hood. I don't think there is a bank account deep enough that I could do that for a full day and then ever feel good about that money, because I would always know that was blood money and it was bullshit and I wasn't principled. And I think this moment requires unrelenting conviction and principle.
Agree. The only thing, like, in my head when you were talking, no. When you were talking about it, for just an instant, like, I look at people in MAGA hats and MAGA shirts and I'm just like, I kind of want to know if they feel it. So if I had the hat on, I would just want to see, like, do most people do like I do and act like a skunk just farted when they see people with the MAGA hat, or are they just oblivious to it? I've always kind of wondered, do they notice?
I think they're doing it provocatively. You and I were in LA with Austin's show, remember? And there was a gal that just parades right in, young, with a MAGA hat on. And you and Austin come out from ordering to the table. You're like, oh my God, MAGA hat, MAGA hat. And I think she did it provocatively. She's in West Hollywood, gay district, gay as fuck. I think she did it to be a cunt.
Well, and what was so funny about it is she was solicitous to watch her purse while she went to the bathroom, remember?
Well, as soon as I saw her with her hat on, this was during the election, I put on my Harris Walls camo hat.
Yeah, you did. You did do that. But I remember she could have had like 5 heads and we would have been less like, oh my gosh, look. I mean, we were freaking out. Like, honestly, like, something was terribly wrong with her, which when you think about it, it is. But I kind of wonder, she had the whole MAGA look. So I don't know if she was just being provocative.
No, I think she's MAGA, but I think there are MAGA people that are provocative about MAGA. And then there's people that are embarrassed.
Right.
That know better. So, I mean, there's no question she's MAGA. Okay, Kylie, what about you?
I wouldn't last 2 seconds in public.
I think I'm telling you guys, I think the MAGA movement and the MAGA hats, it's KKK, it's swastika. There's just, and people on the right go, oh, they call us Nazis, they call us racist. Well, quit doing Heil Hitlers if you're not Nazis.
Right.
It's real simple.
It's not
just
that easy.
That hard.
Yeah, it's really bad. But yeah, on my drive to and from work, there's a house that has a MAGA flag and a United States flag. And I have thought about, like, every day for 2 weeks, pulling into the driveway, knocking on the door and saying, so what do you think now? How's it going? How's your president? No, I'd probably get shot.
Yeah, you'd get shot.
But I mean, I do have this fantasy of torturing the person.
All right, Kylie, what's going on the World Wide Web?
I've got a couple of reviews for you today. Okay. Up first, we've got 5 stars titled Spilling the Tea, Not the MAGA. If you're thirsty for a podcast that quenches your need for brutal honesty, I've Had It is your oversized Stanley Cup of tea minus the MAGA aftertaste. Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan serving up piping hot takes with the vigor of women who've seen it all and aren't afraid to spill the truth. Jennifer's alpha energy could lead a pride of alpha lesbians.
Yeah, that's such a compliment.
While Pump's sagging assets are as unapologetically present as their disdain for all things orange and obnoxious. They tackle life's absurdities, from the cult to overpriced tumblers to the circus of the right-wing politics, with a wit so sharp it could slice through the thickest of delusions. If you're ready to hydrate your soul with laughter and leave the MAGA madness parched, tune in and raise a glass. Just make sure it's not a Stanley Cup.
Love it.
That is a great one.
Speaking of a pride of lesbians, so y'all know, listener, that Pumps and I we love Renee Stubbs, the Australian tennis player. Like, I love her. But also she bugs the shit out of me to follow on Instagram because she's always out doing cool shit with cool people, putting on our story. And I'm always responding like, Ugh. Well, the other day she's, posting, she's like at the, March Madness games.
Right.
She's like on court side, cool shit, cool people. And I respond, you're always doing cool shit with cool people. And she responds back to me, I'm lesbian. This is what we do.
Like, she just owned it.
Like I'm French, I'm lesbian.
I always respond to her, where are you now?
Yeah. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/hadit and get on your way to being your best self. Listener, I've been so stressed out lately with work. I've got one son graduating from college, one son graduating from high school, so many milestones, so many emotions. I am able to ground myself each week in the luxury of my own home with my BetterHelp therapist.
What's so great about BetterHelp is it's normally 50% cheaper than in-person therapy, so it doesn't have to feel like a luxury with self-help and wellness.
Listener, with BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/hadit to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hadit. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Could it be because it has a sleek, spam-free site or the most in-depth school info? Homes.com knows every parent wants the best for their kids, so they're the only ones with school and district details and reviews from multiple sources, including niche. It may be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com has 22 data visualization layers, 7 environmental layers, and allows you to search by commute and architectural factors. It's the home search you've been searching for. Go to Homes.com today for home shopping the way it should be. Homes.com, we've done your homework. Okay, who's next, Kylie?
Okay, this one is 5 stars, titled My 2 Favorite DEI Degenerates.
I love that.
1,000% the best thing ever out of Oklahoma. Ladies, as a drag performer, cross-dresser, whatever you want to call us, I personally am thrilled to have you as fellow Okies and strong women at the forefront of this orange Jesus era. Love, love, love you both. Keep the content going. P.S. You'd both be absolutely blown away at the amount of conservative men who beg girls like me for a taste.
Yep. This is something I've been privy to for a very long time because I've always had a lot of gay male friends. And I remember when the apps first came out, I was over at my friend Scotty's house and our friend Harris was there and they were talking about the apps and I was like, let me see. I want to see what's on them. And they're like, yeah, this guy's married to a woman, has kids. And then we'd go and then cross-reference to their Facebook page. And it's the bio would be like, I love my wife, my kids, and Jesus, and then he's on Grindr. And it's just like, oh my God, it's really, really, there's a lot of these DL men. And I think it's just so, I just think it's so a part of all of the anti-LGBTQ backlash is that there is a lot of bi-curious or just flat out closet case in the MAGA movement as evidenced by a lot of stuff that we've seen.
Right. Well, there's just sexual frustration and not being able to be liberal with their sexuality
and I think
do what
they're
they want.
So jealous of gay men that can just have shame-free sex.
Right. There's so much shame. That's
they're
the
so
word.
liberated. Gay men are so liberated sexually and live these very, sexually fulfilling lives. And they've they've done the work. They've come out of the closet, which is the bravest thing you can do. A out of the closet gay man is a million times braver and more masculine than any of these MAGA men, because coming out of the closet, especially in a red state where we live, it is judgment. It is lots of talks behind the back. Diabolical Christians telling you you're going to go to hell, institutions that are set up to really demean their way of life, and also the gaslighting and saying it's a choice.
Yes.
Is so insulting.
You can change it if you want, conversion camp, the whole nine.
Okay, I have some news stories that I think are going to be rather interesting. Frida, a popular baby brand, is releasing a breast milk flavored ice cream. It's made to taste sweet, nutty, and slightly salty, and includes nutrients found in real breast milk like vitamins, healthy fats, and calcium. The ice cream will be available in 9 months. Kylie, is that real?
That is real. I checked.
People are going to buy that. I'm telling you. People think, oh my gosh, breast milk, it's so good for you. I'll have some. I mean, I don't know what it tastes like. I don't know. I mean, if you want to drink the ice cream, swing for the fences, but people are fucking weird.
Yeah, here's my thing about the breastfeeders. It's been happening for a really long time. There was this movement, like back when we were having kids, where all of a sudden they acted like it was this newly discovered way to feed a human. And in fact, it wasn't newly discovered. It's the original way to feed a human. And it just sometimes you can find on social media or places where somebody's entire identity is breastfeeding.
Yes.
And I think it's fucking weird as shit.
I think it's weird too. And
I don't think breastfeeding is weird. I think making breastfeeding your identity, bullying other people to breastfeed, and overtly bragging about breastfeeding is weird as shit. I mean, if you think about it, it's a bodily function. It would be like bragging all the time about taking a solid shit. It's really not that remarkable.
I did have a couple people try to shame me with my oldest that I wasn't breastfeeding.
Oh, it's ubiquitous. And it's like, why do you care?
Why do you care?
Take care of your own baby.
Right. Be in charge of you. I'll be in charge of me.
Okay. Next up, we have people who spend money on experiences rather than material possessions tend to be happier. And so here's what I have to say about this. For sure, when I go on trips, I'm happy. Like, that is a great investment. That makes me really happy. But I have to add, when I'm on the trip, I kind of like buying material things.
Yeah.
And both of those things kind of go hand in hand for me.
I feel like when you're on a trip, you're a little more liberated because you have more time, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then you're just in such a great mood. You're like, oh, I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
So shopping and trips for you go together.
What about you?
I'm just not a huge buyer.
No.
I do like to go on trips, but I'm also a homebody. So I can see it both ways.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have 86% of Gen Z suffers from menu anxiety when dining in restaurants, with many too scared to order their own meals.
Is that implying that somebody else is ordering their meals for them?
Well, of course they are. They're mothers.
They're mothers? Ugh.
This does not surprise me one bit, because I have a senior in high school right now, and the conversations wherein I have to say to the other parent, Romans 18, I'm going to let him figure that out. Like what time to get somewhere, what time to leave a place, where to take the money. I simply am shocked at the amount of adults that are phoning me about a Roman problem. And so it doesn't surprise me one bit that the same set of women are probably sitting around ordering their kids' foods. And then it further doesn't surprise me one bit that there is a crisis with young boys because they have been told and coddled on nonstop by their mothers. And the best thing we can do for our boys and girls is to teach autonomy.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's just really sad when you can do a study on menu anxiety. Like, that's how nitty gritty we're taking it, that everything has become such a pressure point that what you're ordering for lunch is anxiety inducing. The mothers are fucking nuts. I just don't think mothers used to be this crazy. I don't think when we were little, and maybe we did, and our moms weren't power moms, so we just didn't know what was happening. But I feel like power moms are on steroids now. I just think it used to not be that way. I don't know if it's social media. I don't know what the deal is, but it's ridiculous.
No, I think it's a huge problem. I think the expectation of children and the activities they're signed up for has increased.
For sure.
I think the parents' role in the kids has increased, and I think some of the increase is good. I think dads being more involved in their children's lives is a positive thing. But with anything, I think sometimes it goes too far. And I think we've forgotten to prepare these kids for adulthood. And I think that is the biggest problem. And I think so many parents, they think, I don't want my kid to feel discomfort. And they just jump in front of their kid so that they don't feel it, when actually the best thing for that kid, as painful as it is as a parent, is that the kid has to learn how to manage discomfort.
Right, because that's pretty much all adulthood is.
That's it. It's all it is.
Managing discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Kylie, we have voice memos today.
We do. We have voice memos.
Okay.
Up first, I've got one from Matthew H., and he sent along some receipts to follow it.
Okay.
Hello, Jessica and Pumps. This is Matthew, a little Oklahoma here in Oklahoma City with y'all. But anyways, I've got a multi-level habit that I'm sure you're going to be fucking raging when you hear this shit. This guy on Facebook, the most problematic, well, second to Twitter and Lie Social, most problematic social media platform ever, posted a link to his Cash App asking people for $5 to celebrate him and his wife's 11th anniversary or some shit. Bitch, it is not our responsibility to fund your dinner outing with your fucking wife. So I went and crept on his page, and this is so on par for the Bible Belt. Guess what the fuck his Bible thumping ass had in the bio? Something about loving the Lord's kingdom, blah, blah, blah. Speaking of Bible thumping bitches, aka wannabe Caroline Levitt, I'm going to send y'all the receipts so the people who listen to the pod on YouTube can see this shit. It's unreal. This is ridiculous.
Okay, so what are the receipts?
Okay, so he sent along the post on Facebook. It says, never done this before. We plan on going out to dinner to celebrate 11 years of marriage and 14 years of being a couple. Dropping $5 would be awesome. Love and peace. And then he also sent along this guy's bio. It says, love God, love people. The rest takes care of itself if you seek his kingdom first.
Oh my God. That's just
It's
so
appalling.
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Why do you think that he thinks it's not embarrassing to ask for $5 to take his wife for an anniversary dinner? A. B. Why do you think he thinks anybody gives a frog's fat ass that he's taking his wife out to dinner, or that it's their anniversary? What is wrong with this person?
I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with this person. Kylie, put the bio back up.
Love God.
Love God, love people. The rest takes care of itself if you seek first his kingdom. Okay, here's the issue with this guy. 100% goes to a mega church. 100% the mega church pastor teaches the prosperity gospel, and he probably Cash Apps and Venmos his mega church pastor after a light little swim in the dunk tank. All right. And then he starts getting this idea, I'm going to do it too. And somebody else at the church is doing it. And they're like, oh my God, the power of prayer and God. Like I put on Facebook to give me $5. And then it's a pyramid scheme.
Right.
It's a Ponzi scheme. It is a racket to end all rackets. And I guarantee you the guy's a bad lay.
100%. I would even go so far as to say it's a teeny weeny peeny.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. The problem is not only this guy, it's the people that give him $5. They're at fault too.
It's the congregation.
The whole lot of them.
Yes.
The whole lot had it.
All right. Who's next?
Okay, up next we've got Mitchell.
Hey, Booze. I just want to give you a shout out because y'all are amazing. I wish that y'all had been around the whole time I lived in Oklahoma. Y'all are such role models, and I want to be both of y'all combined when I grow up. But I just want to tell you what I've had it with. I fucking had it with the pleasantries. I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, oh no, this Democrat said a bad, naughty word. Well, fuck that shit. We've been dealing with this shit for years. You know, I'm an empath, so, like, I try to be a nice person. This is why I'm with the Democrat Party. You know, we love everybody. We want everybody to be included. But obviously, the nice guy routine isn't working for us. We need the bad cop profile to step in charge, because I fucking had it. Like, all these stupid fucking names coming from the right, like the Sleepy Joe, you know, Negative Nancy, or, you know, whatever the fuck they want to come up with. It's so fucking juvenile, and I'm sick and tired of just, like, rolling over, turning in the other cheek. Girl, I'm not religious. I'm just throwing that out there. But hypocritical for the Christians and whatever is going on. But I'm so sick and tired of being the nice guy.
I think he's 100% right. Why do Democrats always have to be nice? Why do we have to, like you said earlier, explain everything? Why do we have to be the one that meets people halfway through? Because, and one thing that struck out to me, the juvenile, until Donald Trump, politicians didn't call each other names, like derogatory names, like Little Marco, Ron DeSanctimonious, which may or may not be true. But then they get so mad, like when Jasmine Crockett makes a comment about Greg Abbott. Fucking had it. Pull the gloves off. Quit being nice.
Here's the thing about MAGA. They think the rules that apply to everybody else don't apply to them. They bathe in hypocrisy. They bask in double standards. And they can call all of these ugly names to everybody. And if you look at them and say, you're a racist and you're a dumbass, oh, what are you, a virtue signaler? You know, they have, and it's just like, number one, I don't even engage with these people. Step one, remove all from your life. I mean, that's like the best thing you can do, because this is, for me, this is different than like when Mitt Romney was running against Obama. This is a completely different beast for me. And I think people that are in MAGA and MAGA politicians need to be called out and drilled and made fun of for their idiocy, for their moral duplicity. And I think we should do it with impunity. These are the people in which history is not going to be kind to. These are the people that have voted for a man that's dismantling democracy, that likes to pick on gay people and trans people for sport, because it makes these broken Christians feel better somehow to pick on people or to be racist. It makes them feel superior in some way. And I think we got to start calling it out. And I'm going to tell you one thing I've just really had it with. When you look at Black women, 90-something% all voted one way. White women, nope. And I've had it with these white women that are just enablers to this patriarchal system, but then they act like they're cool boss bitches when they're peddling their multi-level marketing shit. I'm a boss bitch, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, fuck off. If if you're not going to vote for women, then stay at home and be a trad wife. Otherwise, sit down and shut the fuck up and let the real boss bitches take over. It really pisses me off. White women, not all, because there's some that have really fought a good fight, but there is a group, and they are everywhere in Oklahoma City. Everywhere. And it is just a gross double standard where they know what crowd they're in. They know when to act like they're open-minded, and then they know when they're in their Bible study, it's their safe place to be more hateful about minorities and pro-Trump.
White women are a huge disappointment. The overwhelming majority are a huge disappointment because they are internalized misogyny, which I grew up with. So I've seen it firsthand. I get it. That's how my house was growing up. But it's just, how can you vote against your own children, whether they're boys or girls? Reproductive freedom. I mean, all this DEI. I mean, hateful, mean. I can't believe mothers don't want better for their children. I really can't.
I can't. I'll tell you what I will never understand is how people can have a child that's a member of the LGBTQ plus community and look at Donald Trump and see that he tried to give a microphone, a blowjob, and all of the hateful, horrible shit he says, and then go vote against your child. That is a level of cold, black-heartedness that I cannot relate to, that is sociopathic, it is diabolical, it is breathtakingly selfish, because at the end of the day, you're sending a message to your child, my love for you is conditional. That's what that vote says. My love for you is conditional. It's not unconditional.
Well, and also I think they justify it because of the economics.
Which is even more disgusting.
Right. Money over people, which that's a whole thing.
It's even more, that's even worse to say I value money more than I do you.
But I've heard that before is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's really, I think that it's really disgusting. And Trump has exposed a lot of these people and they can't run from it anymore, especially the triple Trumpers. And it is, I just think triple Trumpers, fuck all of them. Fuck all the way off. If you voted for that motherfucker 3 times and you never thought something's not right with him, there's no help. There's no help in bullshit on the economy stuff at that point. Right. Bullshit. Because most of these people, if they voted for him 3 times, know enough to know that he is bad at business and that Republicans always wreck the economy every single time. And if I hear one more white Republican say I'm fiscally conservative, I'm going to take this computer and just bash people over the head with it because I cannot take it anymore. They justify being hateful, homophobic bigots, all in the name of fiscal conservatism, which is a total jet stream of bullshit. I had it. Listener, as you know, Pumps and I are barely competent Gen Xers. So when we started this podcast and you fabulous listeners recommended that we have merch, we literally did not know what to do. But thank goodness there is a company called Shopify, and Shopify is often the business behind the business that can help 2 incompetent Gen Xers like none other than Pumps and me actually sell merch to all of you fine people.
Shopify took the overwhelming and made it manageable and actually made it easy. It really is so user-friendly.
Listener, upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/hadit, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/hadit to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/hadit. This episode is supported by FX's Dying for Sex, starring Michelle Williams and Jenny Slate. Inspired by a true story, this series follows Molly, who after receiving a terminal cancer diagnosis, decides to leave her husband to explore the full breadth of her sexual desires. She gets the courage and support to go on this sex quest from her best friend, Nikki, who stays by her side through it all. FX's Dying for Sex, all episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Okay, up next we've got Hannah S.
Hello, this is Hannah calling from Nebraska, and my I've had it today is twofold, but related to each other. So I have had it with the phrases playing God and God works miracles or it's a God thing. So this I've had it stems from my job. I'm a healthcare worker. I work in the hospital. I'm a speech therapist. I work with people who have had a stroke on their communication and cognitive skills. And I am so tired of patients and or their families at the end of their month-long stay doing therapy with me every single day to get better, finally going home and improved, and they're saying, oh, God works miracles, or this is such a God thing that he or she improved. Bitch, no, that was my therapy and your hard work with me every single day. That was the other therapist doing a good job. That was the doctors, interventions and making sure you don't have another stroke. I don't get it. If everything is just pre-planned for you, you might as well go home. And that brings me to my next point of playing God. Some of these people are wild and will deny interventions or deny a medication or whatnot because they don't want to, quote unquote, play God. Okay, again, go home. If God has this pre-planned, life for you, you shouldn't need to be at the hospital. You don't want to play God. Also, why would God want you to have high blood pressure? Like, I just don't get it. I don't believe in this stuff. I've had it. I know we've talked about it before, but I just thought that I would bring it up yet again. Thank you.
This reminds me of when Princess had her back surgery. Princess had her back surgery, and the ex-husband sent a 95 contact deep message. Princess just got out of surgery. God works miracles.
Miracles. It was a miracle.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I've decided. I used to say that I wanted the Facebook doctors in tents in the hospital parking lot. I would like to permanently change the permanent record on that. Okay. I'm going to relocate to a new venue.
That's one of my favorites. So let's see.
New venue.
Okay.
Mega church parking lots. You can't even go to the hospital grounds. If you're going to cherry pick science and you're going to look at somebody like her who worked hard because of her studies and then helped her patient, and they did all of this time together, and then at the end very dismissively say, God works miracles after she spent all of these weeks and hours doing it, you don't get to have that therapy. You need to go to the mega church Facebook hospital, because these mega churches, this is where a lot of this anti-vax stuff is going around, is in these mega churches too. And I recently was at a basketball game, and this woman said to me that she was allergic to her cats. And I was like, was there anything that can be done? It was like a late in life developed allergy. And she goes, well, no, because I don't believe in any form of vaccine or shot. So he said there's nothing he can do to me. And I just thought, 5 years ago, she would have believed in that.
Right.
And now we're not believing in that. But if there's a cancer that this person gets, she's going to want to go to an oncologist.
Right.
And she's going to want to say, do whatever you can do if this is a curable cancer. And so I think everybody's entitled to health care, but I think if you're going to cherry pick when you want it, the mega church needs to host the Facebook doctors.
Right. If you're going to go down that road, you have to go all the way. You can't go to the hospital halfway through and say, oh, I would like the medicine.
Get your rattlesnake.
You just go all the way in. Have you seen this? I get so tickled on it when I'm scrolling on Instagram, and it'll say, has anybody noticed that all the anti-vaxxers are on Ozempic?
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to take the vaccine because they don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
But to lose weight, they'll take it.
I was going to tell you, and so I'll just tell you on the podcast. I was on Instagram or something last night, and it was Time Magazine or something, had like the West Wing floor plan.
Okay.
And so it had like a Oval Office dining room, and it had everybody's offices on the first floor. And on the second floor is that Paula White, the White House faith advisor,
right,
that is the tongue talker.
For $1,000 you can get blessings.
Yeah, the grifter, and the tongue talker is on the second floor of the Oval Office. And I just thought, and when you look at all of the people there, it's like it's a crusty white people parade. And every time I see Trump on TV, you always just look behind. It's like these crusty old white people.
Right.
You just know the minute you see them, like if you were to walk into a party and those people were there, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm only staying here like 2 minutes and we're out the door. Immediately, you kegel. It's an immediate, like your body just like, I don't want to be around these crusty white people.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine it would be depressing. I mean, we know who he's got Laura Loomer in there. He's got the pillow guy. I mean,
I think he and the pillow guy broke up.
You think the pillow guy's too crazy for Trump? Or did he lost all his money, so he's
I haven't seen him around the second term.
But I mean, when I think about like Laura Loomer in there, Peter Navarro, I just think about these people.
Think about the person who invites them.
That's
we always have to go back to that. Like this is a fat ass that puts on orange makeup.
Yeah.
every single day, swoops his hair in a little loop-de-doo to cover up his, bad implants or whatever it is up there.
Failed bad implants.
Hair implants. And, like we saw that picture of him the other day where he had his britches hiked up to his tits.
Like Humpty
Just
Dumpty.
a dork.
What I don't get is somebody who's that vain, why isn't he on Ozempic?
You know what? That's a great question.
I think about that every time I see him in those big, huge suits. I think you've bilked the American people out of billions of dollars. Pay the $500 a month and get on Ozempic.
Here's something I kind of noticed. So when he was going through his felony trial, he got thin. Like the stress was wearing on him. There was a marked weight loss because you and I talked about it and we pulled up images and we did a thorough investigation into the matter. I've noticed now that he's back in the Oval that he's put on a few more pounds. I think he's McDonald'sing it a little bit more. You can tell he's not as stressed anymore.
Right.
I think he's gained. So I do think some Ozempic might be good.
I'll tell you what, this is what Jennifer and I used to do. Like you look at Barack Obama the day he entered the White House, the day he left the White House. The age fall. I mean, they look like shit. After you're president, like we were worried about Kamala Harris. Like she's so pretty and put together. She's going to look like shit in 4 years. Donald Trump went into the White House. He looked the exact same when he came out of the White House. The contrast was the criminal trial. He aged a ton during that time because he gave a fuck what happened. He's the only president in the history of the world. It's like a meth before and after picture when you're the president of the United States. Not for him.
No, because he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. And now it's really, really bad. I mean, he's golfing and he's doing all this and that because he knows he's a lame duck. But yeah, it is striking. It strikes me that he should be on Ozempic. Anyway, I don't know why. I think you used to tell me this. He looks in the mirror and he thinks, you're hot.
No, I think he does. I think he thinks he's like super attractive. And I'm just going to say this back to the white women. I think you see like all those Mar-a-Lago women and you see in the background when they're like the Instagram stories at Mar-a-Lago. I think they'd all fuck him. I do.
You do?
I do. I think there is a lot of women down at Mar-a-Lago that just think he is the greatest thing on the planet and would fuck him. I do.
Even with that smell?
Yes, I do. They voted, they triple trumped it. I'm telling you, these are people that are like worship wealthy people in capitalism. That type of white person just like worships it, where they throw away all principle, all morals, all character, all decency, and excuse all of the terrible things the person does simply because they're wealthy and they're attracted to that. And I think that whole Mar-a-Lago thing is just like this idol worship of this completely broken man. And I just want to tell you, I really want like a moment. I wish there were like hidden cameras places because I do think there's something kind of joyful in seeing them go, oh, fuck. I really fucked up. I know that's fucked up about me.
I know.
I don't know what that says about me, but there's a part of me where I'm like, I hate that this brings this out in me because I'll vote for you. I'll vote for your right to have Social Security. I'll vote for your right for your gay kid to not be shamed and to have equal rights. If your daughter falls in love with your white blonde daughter falls in love with a gorgeous black man, I'm going to fight for their right to have a mixed race marriage until the day I die. But I want desperately to see a little bit of, and I told you so situation with some of these people.
No, I agree.
I know that's fucked up
it's
about
me. It's a fantasy.
I know.
It's a bad one.
Listener, do you guys feel that? Comment below if you do. I think, is that all we have for today?
I think that's it today.
Is that the end?
Kylie,
No.
so nobody is wearing a MAGA hat.
Nobody is wearing a MAGA hat. No, I just don't think I could do it.
I don't think I
really
could
don't
do it
think I
either.
could.
To me, I feel like it would be like, how would I then look at Kylie, who's a lesbian, and look at Anna if I did that for the day? And then I looked at them, I said, well, I got paid $5 million for it. How do you, you're either 100% against fascism, racism, homophobia, it can't be bought, it can't be purchased, or you're not. To me, if you would wear it for a 24-hour period, it's no different than these women and men, these, country club Republican people that know better, that vote that way for their tax break. And so that's why I don't think any of us can do it.
It's just so, like you said, it's like a KKK hat.
Hood. No, it is. That's what I think it is. And I just want to point out something that the KKK and MAGA have in common. Evangelical Christians.
Mic drop.
Make up both.
In large majorities.
Large majorities. Mega churchers, which is where the new Facebook hospitals are going to be.
I like that.
At Life Church.
And instead of getting saline, you can just use the dunk tank water for IVs.
There you go.
You're conserving.
Yeah.
You're conserving all kinds of water.
Did you get dunked?
I'm sure I did. I don't remember it, but I'm sure I did. 100%. There's no question I did.
I got dunked twice.
Why
You're
twice?
A double dunker? Did they try to get rid of the lesbian?
I got dunked before I was conscious.
Oh, like christened?
And then I remember at church camp, I was like, yeah, I want to make this decision for me.
Wait,
yeah, how old were you?
Did you go into like a lake or was it a tank?
Mine was actually in a swimming pool when I was older, probably like 12, 13.
You know why they want to do away with higher education? Yeah. It's not that it's indoctrination, it's deprogramming.
Well, and it prevents indoctrination.
Because no, you're indoctrinated as a child. Your religion isn't a choice, it's a default.
No, I know,
but so then you get to higher ed and you get deprogramming.
Right.
It deprograms you, which is the opposite of indoctrination.
Yeah. And they like stupid people because they vote for him.
Yeah,
they even said that.
Well, fascism does better with a dumbed down electorate.
Right.
All right. Listen, we have merch. We have a book. We have HBIC. Tell them.
We will see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that. Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw!
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw!
That's it. That's
caw-caw!
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.